Okay, this lesson is on decimals and percents. The rest of chapter 4 is focusing on percentages, and that is a very, very humongous topic in Math 043, but even bigger in Math 143. I have some notes that I just wrote right before I started this video. If you want to go from a decimal to a percent, okay, so look at the top. If you're going from a decimal to a percent, you're going to multiply by 100. That is the same as moving the decimal 2 places to the right. I ran out of space. And if you're given a percent and you're going to convert it to a decimal, you're going to divide by 100. Multiplying and dividing are opposites. So decimal to percent is the opposite of percent to decimal. And in this case, when you divide by 100, it moves the decimal 2 to the left. Now, again, we just had a unit on decimals. We just had a unit on moving the decimal and decimal places and all that kind of stuff, rounding. A percent is always out of 100. Let me write that down. So anytime you see a percent symbol, this is the percent sign, you're talking about something out of 100. That is understood. Okay, so let's look at number 1. 27 out of 100. This is already set up for you. 27 out of 100 is it's already set up as a percent. 27 is the percent out of 100. But if you're not sure, you can use your calculator, okay? 27 divided by 100. What is that going to do? It's going to move the decimal 2 places to the left, okay? So if we were to convert this to a decimal, we would have 0.27. Now let's go up to our notes. We have a decimal. We want a percent. So we're now going to multiply the decimal by 100, which is the same as moving the decimal 2 to the left. We're kind of right back to where we started. But if you were to multiply this by 100, the answer would be 27%. Okay, number 2, change the following decimal to a percent. If you're going from a decimal to a percent, you go 2 to the right. Let me pause this. I need to cough. Okay, sorry. So decimal to a percent, you bump it 2 places to the right. It would fall right there after the 8, and the answer would be 8%. Now, let's talk about decimal place. This 8 is in the 100th spot. Remember, 2 decimal places for 100th? So this is also known as 8 over 100. And again, percentages are out of 100, so that would be 8%. Number 3, this is the 10th place. So if you want to think about this, this would be 1 out of 10, also known as 10 out of 100. Now, once we get to the out of 100, we know that this is our percent, 10. But let me show you how to do that. Oh, sorry. Okay, let me go back to the original problem. Here's the problem. We're going from a decimal to a percent. So we move it 2 places to the right, which would fall right here, and you have to put a 0 in that spot to hold your place. So the answer is 10%. Okay, I think you get the point. We'll skip down to number 6. 2 places to the right, 1, 2. So it's going to fall right there between that 0 and 3. So the answer is 0.3%. Okay. Now, number 8 is an interesting problem. You can have 8, 7, and 8, actually. You can have a percent more than 100. Typically, we usually deal with percentages between 0 and 100, but you can go over 100 if something more than doubles. That situation can occur. All right, let's go over to the other page and see what we've got over here. Okay, now we're doing the reverse. So we're going from a percent to a decimal. If you go back to my notes, let me slide over. Okay, from percent to decimal, you're doing the opposite. So you're going to move it 2 to the left, which is the same as dividing by 100. So if we have 13%, right now the decimal is at the end of that 13. If we move it 2 to the left, 1, 2, it would fall right here, and the answer is 0.13. Okay, this one, again, you can think of it as dividing by 100 or moving the decimal 2 places to the left. So it would fall here. We have to put a 0 in that hole, so it's 0.0062. Okay, for this one, again, you can have a percentage over 100. This is 155%. It's at the back of the 5. You move 1, 2 spaces, so it would fall right there between the first one and the 1 and the first 5. And the last few. So we're talking about percentage rates here. And again, in section 4.4, percentages are a humongous topic. So we want to just get the basics. All we're trying to do today is convert from a decimal to a fraction, decimal to a percent and percent to decimal, okay? Understanding the relationship between those two. So number 15, suppose that the property tax is figured by multiplying the cost of your acreage by 0.071. Change 0.071 to a percent. Okay, we have a decimal. This is a decimal, and we want to go to a percent. So if you look at the notes that I have at the top of the paper, if you're going from a decimal to a percent, you're going to multiply by 100. That's the same as moving the decimal 2 places to the right. So if I move it 1, 2, it'll fall right there in the middle at 7.1%. Okay, we'll do the last one. Number 18, suppose that sales tax is figured at 8.55%. This is a percent, so we're doing the opposite. We want to go to a decimal. What do you do to convert a percent to a decimal? You divide by 100 this time, which is the same as going 2 to the left. So if I go 1, 2, and don't forget you have to put a 0 in that gap. So that's where we're getting our answer of 0.0855. So that's just a short little lesson on converting decimals to percentages and percentages to decimals. Again, next week, we'll move on to a new section dealing with percentages.